Hello and welcome. This is Cryptos Chain with a new episode of Simple Cryptocurrency Podcast. And today I've got a special guest with me. He's a crypto YouTuber. He's the boy. His name is BitBoy Crypto. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today. Glad to be here.
Great, great. So yeah, today is just gonna be more of a general crypto chat. We're gonna touch some topics, but we're not gonna go like too in depth into them. So yeah, I have informed my viewers, the people that are going to be watching this once I upload it, that yeah, we're not going to be talking about anything specific, but more just like general crypto chat, DEXes, Amazon news, Bitcoin SV, things like that, the SEC. So yeah, let's get right in. Before that, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I got into Bitcoin first in 2012. And a lot of people say, oh, you got in 2012, you must be a multimillionaire, you must be rich. And the answer is no, I'm not. Because basically what happened is I was kind of forced to buy Bitcoin for a purchase I was making, not Silk Road. It was some software, and that's what the company was taking at the time. And in 2013, I sold out of all my Bitcoin that I had at the time. And actually, I made a pretty considerable amount, and I was very happy with the gains that I had gotten from it because I didn't buy it to make money. I bought it to spend. And about a month after I sold is when Mt. Gox crashed, and I wasn't
Oh,
smart enough. Yeah, I wasn't smart enough back then to really know to put your Bitcoin into a wallet. So I had all mine on Mt. Gox. So fortunately, I actually sold out at a really good time, all things considered, because if not, I would have lost, everything that I had. So I first bought in at $12. So that'll pretty much tell you everything you need to know.
wow, wow. Yeah, and I
And,
remember I actually watched a video recently where they were talking about the crash on Mount Gox, but this was a crash before they've been hacked. I think this was in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, where Bitcoin went from $14 to like 1 cent in a day.
yeah.
There's this video on YouTube. I can't remember it exactly, but yeah, it was shocking. It's shocking if you think about it. And imagine what those people had to endure. I mean, if they've invested a lot. I don't know what the
Yeah.
investment was like back then. Did people really? I mean, it was more mining, wasn't it?
Yeah, there were a lot of miners, and a lot of people were using Silk Road around that time and getting into it because of that. The guy that I was buying a certain software from, it was violating the terms of services of Craigslist, is what it was. It was an auto poster, and so where I just posted ads for a ticket company I have. I still do that today, and I actually still use the software to this day, and I still have to send in Bitcoin all these years later. And it's just so crazy that in 2012, that guy had the foresight to start taking Bitcoin as payment because, I mean, there's no doubt he's got to be a billionaire at this point because
Wow.
he sold so much of that software, between, especially when it was between 12 and $100 per Bitcoin. And I know if I just went back and look at how much I've sent him, he should have, he should have probably close to $1 million just on the payments I made to
Wow,
him.
yeah.
So,
But I wonder if
yeah,
he kept it though, because the thing is, when prices went up, people were tempted to sell. So, yeah,
yeah.
I'm sure he still has some probably, but yeah,
Well,
yeah.
he's still receiving payments today on it. So
Is he? Wow.
he's been receiving payments for 6 years now, in Bitcoin. So that guy is doing very, very, very well for himself. I can guarantee it. So
Wow.
even if he never sold the top, he's still doing fine. So.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And what about Ethereum? How was it back then? Was it just considered like a pump and dump or didn't even exist?
Well, here's the thing. Ethereum, I think Vitalik Buterin wrote the plan for it in 2014 when he
Ah,
was
yes.
19, I think. So that was a little bit after I had already sold out. And so kind of my story with crypto is one of just regret and looking back and wishing I had done things better or stayed more involved because I didn't really start getting back into. Now, I had bought Bitcoin at different times. I've always stayed very interested in the Bitcoin price. But as far as the other altcoins and stuff like that, I guess because of when I came into crypto, all the altcoins were such a joke. Like
Yeah.
Feathercoin was a big one at that time. I think Peercoin. All these coins were just, they had the most ridiculous names. And now, I guess fast forwarding, we could say a lot of these also have ridiculous names. But back then it was like the altcoins were a joke. And so because of that, I never really paid attention to them other than just, knowing what was on Coinbase and things like that. So really last year is when I first started getting really interested in altcoins. Kind of over the summer, started kind of looking at what was out there and watching Ethereum and how Litecoin had done on Coinbase and things like that. So really, I have a vast history with Bitcoin, but with the altcoins, I'm really about as, other than knowing the names of the older ones and remembering them, I'm really about as new to altcoins as, most of the people that are interested in crypto now. So
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the reason why they called them shitcoins, I guess. That's where they
yeah,
got the name from. I mean, they were pretty much worthless back then. And yeah, I mean, look at Dash for example with masternodes. Like, who would have thought that Dash starting from like what $1 or even less than $1 back in 2016, if I'm not mistaken,
yeah.
and it just went skyrocket. At the end of last year, it was $1,500. So yeah,
Yeah, it's Dash has got a little bit of a sketchy beginning though. I don't know if you know a little bit about their history, but
no, no,
yeah, there's Dash is something I've talked about on my channel a little bit and was in favor of it, and then I really started looking kind of into how it was formed, and there's like a lot of really fishy stuff around the nodes in the very beginning and the founder, and it's not that I don't FUD Dash, so I don't talk about it a lot on the channel, but for anybody listening who is interested in Dash, go look up the history of how it started. It's a little sketchy. And so the fact that we do have coins like Dash that started with sketchy beginnings, and really even if you look at Tron starting with sketchy beginnings in terms of having the white paper plagiarized, we've kind of moved far enough away from the beginnings of some of these coins to where they may certainly have started as crappy projects and under, suspicious activities. However, right now they're building and they're progressing, and they actually, a lot of those I think will still have a future even if they started out in a little bit of a scandalous way.
yeah, I agree, I agree. And what do you think about masternodes? I mean, do
Oh,
you run a masternode yourself? I mean, what do you think about them?
I do not. I do not run a master node. I think I think right now where the market is, I think it's a good time to set one up and start accumulating on some lower cap projects and things like that. But for me personally, like I only have so much bandwidth, So I make 2 videos every single day, Monday through Friday, unless I'm out of town or have something, it's a holiday. Always make a video on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm doing at least usually 12 videos per week. And then on top of that, I got 2 other businesses that I run and all kinds of things. So I got a lot going on. So at some point I've had to make some decisions on, okay, what are some things that I feel like I really want to focus on, and what are some things that I wish I could focus on if I had more time, but
Yeah,
I just don't have it. So
yeah,
master nodes, mining, swing trading, like those are all things that I would love to know about, and I would love to be more. I would love to have the time to be able to practice on them and read up on them and things like that. But unfortunately, due to just time,
they
time
are, they
constraints,
are, they are. That's
it's
true.
so hard to it's so hard to find the time to do those extra things.
E-
So
Exactly, and also the videos take up a lot of time. Especially, I've seen your videos. You do a lot of editing in yours as well.
yeah,
It's not just a matter of reading the news and literally recording. You do some editing as well in some of your vids. So yeah, they do take up a lot of time. And yeah, I was gonna say with masternodes, you can actually rent out a virtual private server. So what you do is you rent out the bandwidth, the space on the server, a fixed IP address like a static IP, and you literally deploy the masternode on there, which runs 24/7. So you don't actually need to worry about it yourself. You don't need to keep your PC turned on for 24 hours. You know what I mean?
right.
You're basically running it on the server. So you just log into the server from time to time to check that everything's okay. So that's the cool thing about masternodes, and that's why I'm more bullish on them over mining. And I'm thinking of setting one up actually early next year. But with mining, the advantage is obviously that you can switch from coin to coin. So if something happens to the project
Right.
that you're mining, you can just simply mine something else. Whereas with masternodes, you're pretty much caught in the middle, and you do have to stake a certain number of coins, usually a really large amount, and
Yep.
that's the risk. That's the risk you take.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that I did look at setting one up before I actually got part of. I was part of a like a masternode pool at some point, and I had bought a bunch of one coin and I put it in there, and then I was like, oh, you know what? I don't even really know if I like this coin. So it's definitely a much higher commitment level to be able to lock those in, and that's why if you, in my opinion, you really have 2 ways you can go. You can either go with, a well-established project where you can pick up a masternode and earn residuals, and like it's going to do well. But of course, it's going to probably cost you more to get into that, or either you can just try to find some really low cap ones
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you can invest in. And if you put $500 in one, or between 500 and $1,000 in one, then eventually, if it does well, you can get good returns on it. And then
exactly.
if it's not enough, to cripple you. That may be enough to cripple some people. I understand people are in different
Of course,
financial
of course.
positions, but I think most people who are interested in crypto, they could probably, if they lost $500, it wouldn't be the end of the world for them.
Exactly,
So,
exactly. No, that's very true. Okay, let's get into Amazon. So I'm sure you've heard the news about AWS,
mm,
Amazon Web Services. So they want to go to their own blockchain. They have mentioned Hyperledger Fabric or Ethereum. Now, actually, I got into crypto in 2017, and before I got into crypto around September 2017. So it's quite close to that bull market when prices were just skyrocketing. But actually, one of my work colleagues who got into crypto a bit before me, like a couple of months before, kept on telling me, man, did you know that Amazon are looking into crypto because they've actually purchased two domains. I think it's called
mm.
Amazon Crypto or something like that, and then some other one. And literally, those two domains kind of gave it away, that they are looking into crypto, but obviously they didn't say anything about it. So yeah, it looks like we finally got the news now. So what's your opinion on that? And how come the Ethereum price isn't going up like crazy? Because we're still seeing $120 at the moment.
Well, it did have a bounce back. I mean, it was down. It was down over. It was below $100 for a while, and I think, or it was not a long period of time, but it definitely did dip below there. And as far as I think XRP getting in front of in front of Ethereum, has kind of hurt confidence in it. It's trailing a pretty good BitBuy now by about $3 billion. And Ethereum is one that I said, I did in my top 5 cryptocurrencies not to buy during a crash. And I listed Ethereum as kind of 5B. I had Neo as 5A and Ethereum as 5B because it just has a lot of questions. There seems to be a lot of uncertainty about it right now. And a lot of people would say, oh, well, you can say that with any project. Like, yeah, you can. I mean, we don't know what any of these projects are going to look like in 5 years down the road. But it just, to me, there seems to have been a loss in the confidence of Ethereum that people have had. And so with news like this coming out, where Amazon, you're right, they are going to be giving the option. You're going to have the option to build in a blockchain environment. You're going to be able to use the Hyperfabric Ledger, or you're also going to be able to use Ethereum. They haven't released the details of being able to build on the Ethereum blockchain yet. But the fact that Ethereum is one of those choices, I think, is going to be really good for the price. And so I think what we're seeing right now is we're just still seeing, reverberations of the lack of that confidence, the loss of confidence in Ethereum. But as more people begin to build on it, and supposedly they're releasing some kind of upgrade soon. It's kind of hush hush with Ethereum right now,
Yeah.
and it's not going to be the main Casper update. I don't believe that's not coming for a little while longer. But hopefully this upgrade will help with the scalability issues and things like that, which is the big question with Ethereum is, can it scale out? CryptoKitties pretty much crippled it last year. What will happen when the networks get clogged again? So I think the fact that Amazon has the confidence in Ethereum when maybe the general public doesn't is a good indicator that Ethereum definitely has the ability to make a comeback.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And yeah, I mean, to be honest, Vitalik himself he lost confidence in Ethereum. I remember a while ago there was some news going around that he said he doesn't believe in Ethereum anymore. But then I don't know, something happened and he just said, okay, we're going to continue development, we're going to progress with this project, and yeah, let's see how things are moving on.
Yeah, well, he said that he did not think that just in crypto in general we would see 1000x gains anymore, and I think that really kind of hurt a lot of people in the Ethereum community. And then he also said that he didn't think it was good for Ethereum to have a figurehead, and so he basically was implying that eventually he might walk away from Ethereum.
Yeah,
And I think that those two things, if you look back at when Ethereum started tanking, and by tanking I mean in Satoshi value, because obviously everything in the market is tanked, but Ethereum has gone from being 10% of Bitcoin to less than 3%, around 2.5% of Bitcoin. So,
that's true.
yeah, so it's dropped like a rock compared to the Bitcoin value, and that's what's allowed XRP to pass it. Stellar and Bitcoin Cash at 4 and 5 are way behind Ethereum, so I don't think they'll catch it anytime soon. But of course, I also said that about Stellar and Bitcoin Cash 2 weeks ago, and then Stellar passed it. They were $10 billion behind and caught it in a week.
Yeah,
So just a reminder of how volatile the markets can be. But
yeah,
I want to want to go back to just this whole conversation revolving Amazon because, and this really ties into the confidence in Ethereum, which is my wife is a book blogger. She's actually going to be on my next podcast that's being released either today or tomorrow. She's got a real interesting perspective because she's been involved in a whole different community other than the crypto community, but she sees a lot of similarities in between the blogging community and crypto community in terms of supporting each other, and everybody's kind of working on their own individual projects and things like that. And she brought this point up about Amazon. Since she's a book blogger, she said, she remembers when Amazon first added the self-publish feature for the Kindle and for, just for Amazon in general to be able to sell books. And at the time, everybody killed him over it. They said, there will be no way that people will be able to self-publish books on Amazon and be successful doing it. And now that's one of their biggest niches is self-published authors. And so they had the foresight back then with that to say, even though people don't have confidence in the self-publishing thing, we think we can make this work. And so it's not just that Amazon is saying, we think, building on Ethereum will be nice, we're going to add it. What they're saying is, no matter what other people say about it, we think Ethereum is a good blockchain and we are willing to build on it and allow people to build on it and create an environment where it is one of the two main focuses.
Yeah.
And what is that going to say to other companies? That's going to say to other companies, wow, this must be a good blockchain. We're going to want to build on it. So maybe we can kind of see the same trajectory with their Amazon Web Services blockchain environment that we saw with something like self-publishing.
Yeah, that's true. But what I'm interested in finding out is why would they choose Ethereum though? Like there are so many other blockchains out there which would be better. I mean, Ethereum is now considered like building on Ethereum is considered like kind of the ICOs which are trying to scam people, and that's the way I see it at least, and some other people as well in the community. It's just the fact that there's so many ICOs on Ethereum which are scams, whereas on blockchains like Neo, for example, they're more legit, and simply because of the cost to deploy the smart contract. I mean, it's higher, so it's less attractive for scammers and more.
Well, I think you just answered your own question there,
Yeah,
which is, the Amazon doesn't want only multi-million-dollar corporations coming and building in their blockchain environment. They want to be able to open it up to the little guy as well, kind of like they do with their Amazon Web Services cloud service. So, that is kind of open to the general public. Anybody can come on and use that. And I don't think necessarily just because people can build scams on a blockchain, that actually has anything to do with the quality of the blockchain. So
that's
I
true.
think they really want to open it up. So what's Amazon been really good at ever since they opened up? They've been really good at basically offering things to the common person.
Yeah,
That
yeah. Fast
they want to be
delivery, good
fast
products.
delivery, good products. They want to be everything to everybody. Really is
Yeah,
about what it's done. And that sounds crazy, but I mean, if you look at their market share in the retail world, it's absolutely insane. They blow everybody away. The only retail company that can kind of compete with them is Walmart, and that we're only about 10 years away from probably Walmart going bust, honestly,
wow.
because everybody buys on Amazon. And now, of course, Walmart has opened up their own, for a while you've been able to buy stuff online, but I think they do free delivery. They're trying to compete in the online space as well as the, physical storefront. But, I think they just want to be everything to everybody. And, that they've been able to be successful doing that. And I think that Ethereum offers, I guess the one thing I would say is, on Ethereum, you have to build with Solidity, which is not the most user-friendly, coding program from what I've been told from developers.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, the fact that majority of ICOs and projects in general have built already on Ethereum, I think it just shows that, it is available to the masses, I guess would be the best way to say it.
Yeah, yeah. No, you've got a really good point there, and you've actually convinced me with that because, like you said, they're not only looking at the bigger players in this market, they're trying to attract the smaller guys. So yes, it does make sense to be on Ethereum in this case. Now, thank you for that input. Actually, let's move on and talk about Bitcoin SV. So we've been hearing a lot about this in the space. They're now in top 10 on CoinMarketCap. The Roger Ver and Craig Wright hash war. What's going on there? Is it over, do you think, or what's happening?
Well, they declared it over. I guess we got to go with that. And looking at the markets, it's very interesting to look and see that the day that Craig Wright came out and said we're about to have this huge hash war, the markets dropped like a rock. And the next week they dropped like a rock. And now that they've announced that it's over, all of a sudden we had a huge bounce back yesterday. So, you know, is it possible that the entire crash was from the Bitcoin Cash hash wars?
I don't
I
think so, to be honest.
Possibly though. I mean, if you look at the timing, if you look at the timing of it, and
The timing makes sense. I agree with you, but I don't know. It's too suspicious. I mean, could it not just be the big players in the game, the whales, which are holding a large volume, which are actually manipulating the price, generating that kind of FUD, and using the hash war as the FUD to be able to dump the price and make people mass sell. I don't know. I'm just thinking, could it be
yeah,
that as
well
well?
yeah, and that's what I thought it was at first. I mean, I've said that very many times that I thought that's what was going on. However, the next few days and the next couple of weeks are going to be really crucial because if we move back up over 5,000 and start marching back towards 6,000 or even maybe get there in the next 2 weeks, then I think we can look back and say it's potentially it was all the hash wars. However, if we go back down, then it really supports the manipulation theory because if basically whales were waiting to manipulate the price down based on some kind of FUD or some kind of news that we've seen them do a lot, then it doesn't really make sense for us to get a huge boost, the day after the hash wars are over because why would they want to move the price back up?
That's true.
So
Yeah.
they would want to hover it down here and be able to accumulate, during this capitulation stage. So that I think that's what supports it. But like I said, if we go back down and this was just a dead cat bounce that we had over the last day, then then I will definitely shift my thinking again back to what I originally thought. But I'm trying to be hopeful. I'm hoping that's all it was, and we can go back up to 6. That would be good for a lot of people that are holding coins right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. And actually, I remember a video from Crypto Crow. It's a really funny video, but the guy was really angry actually, and he was saying that he just loved to grab Craig Wright and just bash him across the room because he just liked acting like a child, messing with people's money, messing with the
Yeah,
whole space. A guy like that, just
and it,
manipulating the whole market. It's just crazy. One person. You just imagine, like.
yeah, and I know Crow, and I know he could actually pick him up and throw him. So Crow's a big guy. For you guys that don't know, he's 7 foot tall.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's true. It's true. And I've
yeah,
actually seen, I can't remember the guy's name, but when he was at CryptoCon, there was a guy that interviewed him. He interviewed a number of YouTubers. I think he interviewed you as well.
right, yeah.
He asked you some question about if you need to have a
About college,
degree or, yeah, something about college
yeah.
to get a good job or something like that. And
That's
yeah,
Crypto Fiend is who that is.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, him, CryptoFin. And he was actually sitting on the couch. Crypto Crow was right next to him, and he was just like, "Whoa, this guy is absolutely huge." Like you don't
Yeah,
really know until you actually see him next to another guy,
yeah.
So yeah,
Well, he's a friend of mine, and so I've definitely stood next to him several times, and it's definitely something not like you're not used to standing next to someone who's that tall. So,
you haven't been
uh,
invited to one of his live streams yet, though. I think you will be though in the future, no?
have I not done one with Crow?
I don't think
I
so.
don't.
No, I don't think I've seen you
Uh,
one in his live stream because I watched some of his live streams. Well, most of them I watch anyway. I stopped watching the ICO ones. I tried to skip those. I just don't really
yeah.
believe in those anymore. I used to watch them at the beginning because I've been following his channel from like
Oh,
early
really?
2018. So yeah, it's I really like his videos. And even
Yeah, he's a good guy.
the ones where he doesn't talk about crypto and he just starts talking about life in general and how he used to be in the mortgage industry and all that. Like I enjoy those kind of videos as well. The more life talk as well.
And when he talks about how his favorite movie is The Notebook, which is the truth, that's a real fact right there. You can
Yeah,
ask him.
yeah, yeah.
He loves The Notebook. I get a good kick out of that. But yeah, he's definitely an entertaining guy, and in real life, he's definitely a good guy and a good friend. So
Yeah, yeah, and also Crypto Zombie is another really nice guy. I mean, you can tell as soon as he starts doing his videos, you can tell the guy's really passionate about what he's doing,
right.
and that's what you want to see. You want to see passionate people. You want to see a bit of joke as well, a bit of comedy. You don't want to be all stressed out, all negative about it. Otherwise, why would you be doing videos about the space? Let's just be honest.
Well, different strokes for different folks. I know I've definitely had people watch my channel before and say I try to be too entertaining, and they would much rather that I just give them straight information, which is so crazy. So
Yeah.
some people want that. Some people want, the information just given, and they don't want any jokes or any entertainment. Like they just want to know like literally what was the news today. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you're not going to like my channel if that's what you're after.
Man, you know what's funny actually? I don't know what actually works out, but it seems that I know that my channel is much smaller than yours, but I seem to get a lot more views when I do demos. So if I do a demo of, say, I did a demo of Ontology's O Wallet, and I got a lot of views from that. But if I do like news videos, I don't really get that many views, and actually I get some downlikes as well. Sorry, some dislikes.
Yeah.
But with the cryptocurrency reviews, I seem to do okay, kind of in the middle. But yeah, the demos are the ones that are really triggering up the views. It seems that people are more interested to know how they can actually achieve something using a specific product than just finding out about some random project
Well,
or
the
finding.
news the news is hard, and just a little bit about, um, a little bit about YouTube here, which is when you have a very small channel, YouTube fights against you very hard because they would rather have the bigger channels that they know already have an engaged audience watch videos, and so it's all about how you put the keywords in, and how you do your SEO and your description, like that stuff matters. But eventually, and I've actually seen this with my own videos, I've hit a really big upswing in my number of average views over the last couple of weeks. And it's just that YouTube's giving me more credit. So I'll do a news story and talk about Tron, and then all of a sudden people search Tron and my video comes up. Whereas used to, there were so many videos about Tron, and YouTube was fighting against me where nobody would find them. So with the demos, the more you can do kind of specific stuff, because many of my best videos in the early days, my first ones that kind of cleared thousands of views, those were wallet reviews for sure. I did one on Ethos Wallet that got a ton, and so it's good to do specific stuff, and people like seeing specific stuff, and then you also get that specific project community involved as well. So
Yeah.
that would definitely help you out in views. But I mean, people just there's so many choices with news videos too. I mean, there's at least 10 of us that do 10 of us with decent sized followings that do news videos every single day.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So people are fed up basically. They already know what news they can see and where they can find them.
exactly.
And also my the other thing is some people may say it's a problem, and I have had people saying that is my focus is mostly on the Neo blockchain projects and now Ontology as well. And they get a much smaller following compared to the rest. So that could also be the case. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably true. I think eventually you may have to, maybe focus on some other projects and stuff like that outside of the Neo environment, unless it blows up like the Ethereum environment did, because you could certainly have a channel where you only talk about ERC20s and have plenty to talk about.
I agree. I agree. Right. Thank you for that. Now let's move on and talk about DEXes. So what do you think about DEXes? We've got Waves, which has been doing really well. I mean, the dollar price now is more or less $1 something. It did go up to like $3 or $4, I believe. At some point, they do have the fiat gateway as well. You can connect with your wallet, obviously, because it's a decentralized exchange. You can trade ERC20 tokens on there. What do you think about them? Also, we've got IDEX, but the volume is really, really low compared to a centralized exchange. And a lot of the traders that we talk to, they just stay away from them. They just say, we don't want to go on decentralized exchanges because it just takes a long time for an order to fill. And also, when you don't have a stable token, that's also a bit of a problem because
Right.
you've nowhere to move to. You're pretty much stuck. So what's your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, it doesn't, on your last point there, it doesn't even matter if they do have a stable coin or not on a decentralized exchange, because the order still has to get filled, which defeats the purpose of moving over to a stable coin if there's like a crisis going on with a project. Like, I was talking about on a video the other day, I believe, when I was on my stable coin, Complete Idiot's Guide to Crypto video, when I was getting ready to go on a trip. I was driving back from Florida, and Binance went down right before I left for the trip, and I knew that the Bitcoin price was going to be dropping because there was a bug. There was an internal bug that they had, and it was bad news for Binance. And when Binance, the biggest exchange, has bad news, guess what? That's bad for crypto in general. So
Yeah.
because of that, I decided to jump over to Tether, which I didn't know all the bad things about Tether at the time that I know now. But I decided to jump over to Tether. And, if I were to do that on a decentralized exchange and everyone was wanting to jump over to a stable coin, it might take forever for that to get filled. And when that order is trying to get filled, you could lose a lot of money in the meantime. But I think that that's really the problem with decentralized exchanges right now, is that exact situation I just talked about. But over every trade, that's the problem. You may want to get into a project. You might go to CoinMarketCap. You might find a low cap gem that who knows, maybe you got some inside info on it. Like, something big's about to happen with this project. And so you go on CoinMarketCap and you look up the markets that it's on, and you see, oh, cool, it's on these exchanges. Well, then you go to all three of the exchanges that it's listed on, and they're all decentralized exchanges. And the volume is so low, you've got this great project you can pick up. It's right there sitting in front of you, and you can't get it because
Yeah.
the volume is too low. And that's a very, very frustrating thing. I know I've been through that for sure. With a project I liked, I could not buy it. I wanted to buy it so bad, and I couldn't because I couldn't get the order filled at the amount that I wanted to get it filled. And even if I tried a much lower amount, I couldn't have gotten it filled.
And one interesting question, because talking about decentralized exchanges, I have had a podcast with Switcho's Chief Commercial Officer, Jack Yu. Switcho is also a decentralized exchange. They're the first one on Neo. I'm pretty sure you probably heard about them. Yeah, so I had a podcast with them, and one of the questions I didn't actually ask was what happens in terms of volume with a stable token if it gets listed? Because we know that Tether has a lot of volume, right, on Binance. So you know that you're going to be more or less paying the dollar, you know? But
Right.
what about on a decentralized exchange with not so much volume? I mean, how much volume can they actually pump into that stable token to make sure the dollar equivalent remains and that it's still paired at the dollar?
And that's a great question. And I think that I don't have the answer to it. I think that that's another reason why it's going to be really difficult for these decentralized exchanges to really make it. We look at what just happened with, what was the one that I think it was Ether Delta that
Yeah,
just got hit by the SEC
yeah.
with a $350,000 fine. And so a lot of these decentralized exchanges, they thought they were safe because they were decentralized. And now they're finding out that that's not the case. And if you're the CEO of this company, of this decentralized exchange, or you're the founder, would probably be the better word, that you could be liable. That's going to make probably more people not want to be interested in doing it. And with these decentralized exchanges, you know, I don't see what happened with Charlie Shrim and BitInstant happening to them, because Charlie Shrim knew that when he was taking in money, like they have on record, he got a text from somebody saying that, like, I'm going to use this money for something I shouldn't be using it for. But with decentralized exchanges and all this money running through it, if there were ever a hint that a founder knew that someone was, using money for money laundering or for, selling drugs, or even an assassination, as crazy as that sounds,
Yeah.
like, the founder could go to prison over that. Like, we
No,
already
that's
saw
true.
that with Silk Road. So just because it's decentralized doesn't mean that they're safe. And so I just think there's so many downsides to them right now. I think the future now, if you're a swing trader and you are setting, bid prices and things like that, then you're very well versed with them. Then decentralized exchanges, I think, work very well, especially if you are trying to hide transactions. But the thing about the future of decentralized exchanges is going to be when Binance finally comes out with their decentralized exchange. That's when the rubber's going to hit the road, and we're really going to be able to tell whether or not decentralized exchanges are in fact the future. And then with Binance doing it, we're going to see kind of what it takes behind the scenes to launch a successful one that's going to have the volume. So,
Wow. Yeah, no, that's true. You've got really good points. And come to think of it, because the SEC did announce that they're going to go after the CEO because somebody does create that decentralized exchange. This issue happened with Aphelion. I don't know if you know Aphelion, the second decentralized
yeah.
exchange on Neo, disabled all trading. The price absolutely plummeted from like 7 cents to like a seventh of a cent. And yeah, and basically the CEO just said, look, this is what happened with Ether Delta. We're concerned. We're just going to step away from it right now and let things cool off and see what the SEC are going to do. And that's it. But what I don't understand is why would they disable trading if they're registered in St. Kitts, which is a small island in the Pacific? And you've got, I don't know, you've got the company is actually based in Barcelona, Spain, but they're registered in St. Kitts. So they don't have anything to do with the United States. So why would they disable it just because of the SEC? This is what I don't understand. Why can't they just prevent people in the United States from using the decentralized exchange?
Well, it's too late at this point, and that may be what they're trying to do. It's too late because there's already people. people from the United States that have ran, who knows, maybe millions of dollars through there. And the SEC has already said that when it comes to decentralized exchanges, that the founder is going to be responsible. And if you've had residents from the United States trade on your site, they don't care where you are, they will come after you. And I
Right.
don't even know what that means. I don't even know how they can possibly enforce, laws from America on, countries doing business here. I mean, what are they going to do? Send in the FBI to come get you? I don't
Exactly.
know. Maybe they do. I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
To me, that's been a question I've had, which is, okay, if you're doing an ICO and the SEC is saying they're coming after you, but you're in a different country, I don't really understand how the SEC and the United States government can kind of reach into those other countries without the cooperation of the leadership of those countries. But apparently they can. So,
Right. Yeah, and this is the thing because I don't know if you know, they've had a bit of an issue because they listed NEX, which is the security token of the Neon exchange, which is developed by the city of Zion, and these guys are registered as a security in a small country called Liechtenstein in Europe. And basically, they were saying that they shouldn't have listed them. They shouldn't have listed. Obviously, the city of Zion didn't say anything about it. But then we've heard from another project called Thor, which are also an NEP5 token on the Neo blockchain. These guys are in the US and they wanted to apply for regulation to be regulated and for I don't know to have like a regulator approval so that they can be how can I say taken into consideration by the SEC so that they won't get any sort of fine, right? They will be paying their fees and all that sort of
right.
stuff. And basically, Thor got absolutely annoyed with Affiliate for them listing them for trading. And then they actually said on their Telegram channel that the city of Zion, who developed Nex, are actually behind the scenes. They're actually opening a lawsuit against Affiliate, against the Affiliate CEO. So does
Wow.
that have anything to do with it? I don't know, but it's very suspicious. So to be honest, as soon as I heard that, I just got out of my Affiliate position, and luckily the price didn't dip because they did announce that the mobile DEX is going to be launched sometime after. So, they didn't launch their mobile DEX in the end, they just disabled trading. But I'm really thankful in a way, I'm thankful for finding that out from Tor because I happened to be in their Telegram channel at the time when they got
Right.
absolutely annoyed with the CEO and people were just like, whoa, whoa, I can't believe this is happening. So yeah, those people that did see it and got out, I mean, yeah, but a lot of people got burned, unfortunately. And I know some people in the Telegram channels I'm in that invested a lot of money, let's say in Affiliate, and they got absolutely burned. So it just shows you this is what happens with crypto. It's a very risky investment. You do need to be careful, and sometimes even the most promising projects can really turn the books on you.
Yeah, well, we've seen, Aphelion was just doing sponsored reviews all over YouTube right before all this happened. So it showed you that they were trying to get out there and trying to get the name out there and push people towards their project. It does sound like something kind of turned on a dime with this. So, some people are calling it an exit scam. I don't know if it is or not, but some people are saying that they're kind of camouflaging what's going on right now, with the decentralized exchanges and maybe even with this deal with Nex as an exit scam. I don't think that's the case, but that definitely is a rumor that people are floating around. So it'll just be, obviously a little bit of time before we'll know for sure, but hopefully they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, I'm sure we're going to hear more information as the space is maturing and, the SEC come up with something and we'll find out exactly what's going to happen. But yeah, it is what it is at the moment. It is a risky situation.
Yep.
And let's talk a little bit about the SEC actually. So, do you think security tokens are the future? Is this why people are so bullish on security tokens? Because come to think of it, we're talking about Nex earlier. So, Neon Exchange, they are registered as a security, and a lot of people FOMO'd in. I don't know if that's a good thing because when you FOMO in a bear market, that can really burn you. But they FOMO'd in and they literally raised the price like crazy. I mean, to be honest, Neon Exchange did have a lottery token sale. So only certain people managed to buy in, and then a lot of people just bought over the counter on Telegram, and then of course on the Affiliate DEX when they listed them. But people just FOMO'd in, and the price just skyrocketed, and people are still really, really bullish on Next just because they're security, they're regulated. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, do you reckon that'll be the future?
Well, that's the rumor. That's what people are saying. But honestly, I feel like people have been saying it for about a year now, and we've yet to see the security tokens take off. So, I mean, obviously with security tokens, there is less risk. But I wonder if that lack of risk could also lead to, the lack of volatility on the upswings. I don't know. I'm just speculating on that, but that's why the SEC wants to push people towards these security tokens. But I'm of the personal opinion that security tokens are still actually a ways off from taking off. I don't think they'll even take off next year. I think it'll be closer to 2020 when those get bigger.
Yeah.
Like I said, I heard at the end of last year that security tokens were the future this year, and they haven't done anything. I mean,
Yeah.
Polymath has not taken off. Like people, and Polymath is basically a platform that's going to launch security tokens.
Yeah.
So if it's not taken off, then what does that say about the whole security token, environment right now? I just don't think that they're going to be what everybody thinks they're going to be, and I could be way wrong on that. I believe that we are still going to get pounded with ICOs for probably another 2 to 3 years. I think that once the market turns around and people start looking for prospects on, like I'm invested right now in, I was just looking at my portfolio today, and I'm invested in 13 projects right now. The vast, almost half of it is Bitcoin, but I've got my other money spread out among 12 other projects. And, if the market turns around and all of a sudden, I'm able to double or triple my portfolio value, which won't be very hard at this point to
Yeah.
do, on a bull run, then what am I going to do with those profits? I'm going to look for smaller projects that have a chance during the bull run to really, really, really shoot up. And a lot of times those are ICOs. All of the ICOs are failing right now.
Yeah.
But when the bull market comes back, guess what? They're all going to start succeeding again. So I think we are going to have another at least one bull run, maybe 2 to 3 bull runs where ICOs are still going to do very well. And I don't think we've learned anything, honestly.
Yeah.
I've learned stuff. You've learned stuff. But the general public that is not invested in cryptocurrency, that maybe is only invested in terms of like a dollar investment. Like I've invested my whole life into cryptocurrency, and I'm in
Wow.
it every day. I'm in it every day. I'm on crypto Twitter every day. I'm on Instagram. I'm doing YouTube. Like I've got a pretty good sense of the pulse of cryptocurrency. So I don't think I'm going to make the same mistakes that I made last time. However, about 90% of people at least are going to. So we're going to go through the whole thing again. We're going to go through ICOs getting pumped up again. We're going to go through with scams again. We're going to have more BitConnects. It's all going to come. It's going to be a few
Yeah.
more years,
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
until we reach a mature point.
Yeah. And I also think that's actually a very good point. And I also think that a lot of the ICOs are gonna be more careful, when they launch. So they're gonna try to be compliant, with the law, especially
Yep.
the ones in the US, just because they know that the SEC is gonna shut them down if they don't. I think there will be that. Of course, you're gonna have scams as well, but there'll be much less than we've seen in 2017 and 2018, I think.
Yeah, the spotlight is on. And the thing about ICO, I think ICOs have a really bad name. I think that really, I mean, we could say that most crypto projects in general have a bad name. The words scammer and shiller are just thrown out indiscriminately everywhere. Like, oh, this project's a shill project, or this YouTuber is shilling this, or oh, all these scam ICOs. When in reality, while they may have some scammy marketing tactics, which I would argue every single business in the world uses,
Yeah.
like do you honestly think? And I understand we're talking about financial products, but it shouldn't matter. Like you don't think that Coke and Pepsi, like you don't think when Pepsi does a blindfolded taste test and then does a commercial on it, do you think they're giving you the exact results on that? Absolutely not. There's tons of people during those taste tests that are saying, "Oh, I like this one better," and they're like, "Oh yeah, that one's Coke. We won't put this one in the commercial." Like, you could say that about every business in America. It's like you go to McDonald's and you look on the menu. Does your burger ever look like that? No, absolutely not. And so there may be some marketing practices that every business in the world uses to be able to gain followers, but I don't think the majority or even a large portion of ICOs are scams. I think what they are is they are people that have belief in something that they're doing that just the general public is probably not ever going to latch onto. And I think that there is a lack of good developers that goes out there on these projects,
Yeah.
and there's also just there's so many, so the market is totally oversaturated, and that, in my opinion, is why most ICOs fail. They don't go sit at a business meeting and like, okay, let's plan our team out. okay, now let's look a year down the road and see how we can exit scam. Like, yes, there are those companies. We have seen it, but I could name on definitely less than 20 of them that fit that out of, there's probably about 5,000 out right now between CoinMarketCap and ICOs that haven't made it on there yet.
Wow.
So the fact that there's probably only 20 I could name, and that I would be hard pressed to do that. I think that just shows that the market, it's just, we're dealing with a bear market, cannibalization. People hate ICOs. They call them all scams. And what it all boils down to is people invested without doing their research, or they invested money that they couldn't lose, and they're bitter, and so they point at everything and call everything a scam. And I think that's a really unfortunate thing
That's true.
that's going on in crypto.
That's true. And they also look now, people are clever. I mean, the people that are already in crypto, they're more clever when it comes to teams, when it comes to project progress and things like that. And what they do is if the team is not somebody well known, for example, I mean, like if there isn't at least one person which is well known within a project's team, then they tend to think, oh, it's probably gonna die out, it's probably a scam. They need they need that assurance, that okay, there's this guy who's got a really good reputation working in this
Yeah.
team, he's gonna change it. But what if that guy leaves? What if that guy says in 1 year down the line, sorry guys, I'm gone? Then you're gonna see the
Well,
price plummet like always. So there's always that risk. It's like you
it,
said, it's very difficult to know exactly. Some of them have great ideas. Some of them have great ideas which they're not gonna go ahead and do because they don't have the funding. And yeah, that's the way I see it as well, to be honest.
well, did you know Vitalik Buterin before you got into crypto? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's another Vitalik Buterin out there who's working on a project right now,
Very
and
true.
and you pull up that team and you look at it and you say, oh, this is a bunch of nobodies. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if you've looked at these crypto teams, but a lot of these projects have CEOs, founders that are in their early 20s that we've never even heard of, and those are some of the
yeah,
brightest minds out there
yeah.
that have grown up with technology and have grown up, not necessarily wanting to be in crypto, but wanting to be in computer programming and things like that. And it's funny, like what they would teach in a computer programming class today, a freshman college course on computer programming. Like, think about the vast difference and breadth of knowledge that you would get in that class than you would have in the best doctorate level computer programming class like 10 years ago.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah,
you get more in a freshman class now than you would get in a doctorate class back then, because we just know so much more and there's been so much more development that's happened. So I say with ICOs, this is what I will tell people with ICOs. I don't really invest in them personally. I am invested in Monarch. It's the only ICO I'm personally invested in. I have done some transparent reviews on my channel in exchange for some ICO payments, which of course, every single one I said is, a paid review and things like that. So I do have some ICOs sitting around. But in general, the reason why I don't invest in them is because it is just a straight up gamble. It doesn't matter how good the team is. It doesn't matter what problem they're trying to solve. If you're investing in an ICO,
it's a
you
gamble.
are gambling. And if you
That's true.
want to gamble, that is totally great. That is totally fine with me, not financial advice.
Yeah,
But if you want to gamble, then you got to treat it like gambling. You got to treat it like you're betting on the Super Bowl and you got a 50-50 shot to win or lose. And either way, at least you got to play, and that's
yeah,
the way that you have to look at ICOs. And I think when you have that mindset, instead of, I'm entitled to this money back from an investment, then I think that's when we'll probably have, better attitudes towards them out there. But I don't know if we'll ever get there. People who lose money are always, you see it with people who do sports betting, they blame the running back who broke his leg on a play for them losing. Like, how dare you break your leg, or even fantasy sports,
yeah.
So, people are always looking to blame people for their
And come
problems.
to think of young CEOs, I mean, I know that the project is not doing too great now. It's probably gonna die out. I don't know. Ethos. The CEO of Ethos is really young because I've actually seen him in an interview with Crypto Crow when he invited him, and he's really, really young. He's like in his early 20s, I believe.
Shingo, his name's
Shingo,
Shingo, isn't
Shingo,
it? Old
that's it.
Shingo.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
I'm I'm not a fan of Ethos. I think you're probably right. I
yeah,
think it's
yeah.
not going to do
I
so
did
hot.
think
So
they're gonna do good though. I did think they're gonna do good when I first heard about them. But yeah, now with Monarch, I think that Monarch may actually take off. And also I know that Crypto Crow is really bullish on Monarch because he's obviously friends with the owner of Monarch.
with
So
Beatles,
with
he's
Beatles,
Beatles.
yeah, yeah,
He's the president. I've met pretty much the whole team at Monarch. And Robert Beatles is the president. I think Snay is the CEO, but
Yeah.
You won't find a better person in cryptocurrency, period, than Robert Beadle.
Yeah, a lot
So
of people talk really nice of him actually. That he's really friendly, really how can I say is generous as well with many
yes.
crypto YouTubers that he met. And yeah, especially Crypto Crow. I think he's gonna work for them as well. Apparently, that's what he announced in one of his.
Oh,
Yeah, he's gonna be an
really?
advisor for Monarch. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is he? Oh, I
So
need
yeah,
to get in on
and
that.
interesting.
I need to ask him when they're going to let me be an advisor.
I first heard about Monarch through Crypto Crow, and funnily enough, I think I commented on a Twitter post from Crypto Crow or Robert Beatles, and he followed me since then. I remember he followed me on Twitter, and I was like, wow, the first big person that follows me on Twitter. You know, all the rest of the people were like maybe had 50, 60 followers, but him, he was like somebody that had a lot of influence in the space. And I was really surprised. I don't know why he did it, but yeah, I'm really thankful for that. It's really good.
Yeah,
It just
he's
shows you.
definitely a good guy, and I can tell you after talking to him personally several times about Monarch and all the partnerships they've got. Monarch, I believe, is going to blow every other wallet out of the water. So,
Yeah, yeah. Do you know when they're planning to launch, by the way?
well, the ICO ends in December, I believe. It may be the end of the year, but it definitely it ends this year. So within the next 5 weeks.
Okay, okay.
So I
So
don't know.
quite
I don't
close.
now the app is already launched. They've already launched it on Android and on that's actually what I use it for my portfolio tracker right now on iOS. So but some of the more advanced features they're going to have are going to be coming out, I believe, at the beginning of next year.
Wow. Okay, so they're really progressing, and they're gonna have good marketing as well. You've got Crypto Crow, you've got BitBoy Crypto, which which is gonna be advertising a lot of people, I guess, and also of course Crypto Beatles himself. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, as long as the project does well, I don't mind. I mean, I think people should advertise because people need to make others aware and they need to expose these sort of projects. Because if people don't know, how can they invest in something that they haven't? They need to hear about things, to be able to do to investigate into it, to look into the white paper, to do their own analysis, basically. Otherwise, how would they know? And this is not financial advice. It's just like a general conversation of what people should do before they invest into a project.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah.
I think do your own research is basically what that means to most people is, hey, I'm going to watch 5 YouTube videos where they all tell me it's not financial advice, and then maybe if I just judge what I'm going to do off of all
Yeah.
5 of those. I mean, I've done it in the past. We've all done it, but I think once again it just boils down to what I said earlier, which is if you're investing money into crypto that you can. I lost $10,000 in one swoop when I got hacked. I got hacked and um now it wasn't actually worth $10,000 when it got hacked, but it was about $10,000 worth of investment that got taken from me
Whoa.
in a minute, and it was my fault. I
Were
got
you
phished,
holding
and
them on exchanges or?
it was on my Ether wallet, and I basically got phished. I learned a very important lesson from it. Now, at the time, it was worth about $2,400, so it didn't it didn't feel like I lost $10,000. It
Yeah.
felt like I lost 2,400, which is still a
Whoa.
significant amount of money to me. But I was
Whoa.
able to stomach it and move forward, and I definitely learned a very, very valuable lesson from it.
Wow.
And I didn't go out trying to blame everybody for it. I took responsibility for my own actions, and that's just if you
That's
can't
how
be
it
a big
is.
if you can't be a big boy in cryptocurrency, you can't be a big boy or a big girl and take your own responsibility, then you don't need to be in crypto. I
That's
mean,
true.
really that's what this is all about, right? Is decentralization. It's about moving away from the bankers and the intermediaries. But however, the banks and the intermediaries, they provide you protection if you get hacked. So if you can't live without that protection, then you don't need to be in crypto because you don't really line up with the beliefs of what crypto is all about. We're trying to totally change a system that's been instituted for hundreds of years. So there's going to be some things that are going to happen. And I look at that money I lost as a sacrifice. It was a sacrifice. Unfortunately, it was my own boneheaded decision that lost it because I did get phished. But, it's just one of those things. I just understood like, wow, this is really part of it. And I did a video about it, and a lot of people were very sympathetic. And some people donated some money to me for the loss. Not very much. I mean, less than $100 total out of my loss, but that meant a lot to me that people were willing to send me anything,
Yeah.
um, for that. So
And talking about big boys, actually, my one of my mates, basically from Telegram, he's also a crypto investor, and he made a good. Well, it wasn't actually a joke. He was more frustrated on the project. Basically, this project, I'm not gonna name it, but they don't work at the weekends. Let's just say that, right?
yeah,
And basically, they had some problems with their software. And this guy was asking them, "What's going on with this? Why is it not working? Why aren't the transactions? What's going on with this blockchain?" And literally, what happened is they don't work at the weekend. So when people are replying back to say, "Sorry, nobody's working at the weekend. You need to wait until Monday." Well, they need to put on their big boy pants on and start getting to the business. They need to look after their customers. And ever since then, I always tell this guy, this is your new motto, big boy pants.
That's it.
So
That's it.
that's
Big boy pants.
it.
You need them. You need them if you're going to be in crypto, no
That's true.
doubt.
That's true, especially with the volatility as well.
Right.
Yeah. And that's it. Like many people can't stomach the volatility. Many people can't stomach it. And I remember when I first got into it, I was like, whoa, Jesus, 15%, 20% in 24 hours, even more. It's like, whoa, those are the norms, especially at the end of 2017. It was just absolutely
Yep.
crazy. But yeah, and apparently people are saying that we haven't seen the bubble yet. Some people
So we
say
aren't,
the bubble has burst at the end of 2017. No, it hasn't. We haven't seen the bubble yet. I mean, that's
we aren't
yet to
even
come.
close. We
Yeah,
aren't close. We are not
we
close to
haven't
it.
seen any institutional investment yet. When we get the regulation, I do believe that pensions are gonna invest in the crypto space, especially the ones which do take the higher risks. I know that they do invest in high risk stocks in general when you want to get a pension plan, especially if you're younger. I know I used to live in the UK before, and in the UK you do have that option to choose what you want to invest in terms of stocks for your pension. So you can choose the high risk plan if you're younger, or the defensive plan if you're older, if you're in your 50s and you're getting closer to retirement. And yeah, I do think that pension providers are actually going to invest in crypto purely for the high risk and volatility, which is going to bring them a lot of profit, both to themselves and to the people that have the pension funds. What do you think about that? Do you see that being the case, or?
Well, we love volatility on the upside. We hate it on the low side.
Yeah,
That's the volatility is definitely what draws people into crypto, but they're only being drawn into crypto when they see the price going up, and that's
yeah,
yet another reason why I feel like we'll repeat all the same mistakes. Is we'll have new investors coming back into the space in the next bull run, thinking that it's going to go up to $1 million,
yeah,
which it will one day, but it'll probably go up to 100,000 and drop back down to 20 or 15. Like that's just what
yeah,
we've seen with it. So
yeah,
we'll see all this again. And I think that the volatility of it, we live the volatility day to day, but if you look at it over, a 5 to 10 year period, I think what you'll see is it will pretty much be on, a straight trajectory upwards, no matter how you're looking at it.
that's true. No, that's good. That's good. Really good point. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Asia as well. So as a last point in this video, so I think that Asia, to be honest, is going to be the future of crypto in the sense that a lot of these projects seem to have taken off over there. They're doing really well. The space is not extremely regulated. I'm not talking about China, more about Japan and Singapore, for example. And for example, we see projects like the Key. Okay, they are in China. They're an identity verification tool. They're on the Neo blockchain. They were going to come off the Neo blockchain and migrate to their own, but they decided to stay on Neo. Now they're going to launch this identity verification tool next month, right? And what they're going to be doing is they're going to be using the public sector, for example, hospitals, schools, council, and even banks, to get people's identities digitally via the blockchain using their tool, using their ecosystem. And this is where their token, TKY, is going to come in handy. So yeah, the supply is absolutely huge, but the fact that they're doing this kind of step and they get all the Chinese regulatory approvals, so the government has actually approved this project and this tool, so it is going to be in use pretty much starting from next month when they launch it. I mean, what do you think about that? Could that possibly really take off? I know that it's hard to estimate this kind of things, but the fact that they've received approval from the Chinese government, which is a really important step in my opinion, isn't that the whole point of seeing this use case of cryptocurrency and stuff?
Yeah, and I believe they're working directly with the equivalent of the Social Security office in China,
Yeah,
for the identity verification, and I think it's absolutely huge. I think that's one reason why I like a project out of Korea called Bizont. I did a review on it recently, and in South Korea, they finally have decided that they want blockchain companies there, and so they've legalized crypto. Excuse me, and it's basically creating trying to create a relationship between the governments and the blockchain projects there, in Korea now, because they don't want to lose those businesses to other countries. And so it seems like it's like a perfect storm right now for something like Bizont that is going to be, it's basically like it's a blockchain protocol. They're going to be having content. Different content platforms on there. They've also got a wallet that's working with it. They're already working with a company called I can't remember the name of it, Jahima or Jahimu, whatever it is. And I think that the thing that these Asian countries are realizing is that they, especially a country like China, where they want to control their people, they're starting to realize that blockchain is going to get out of control before they know it, and they're no longer going to be able to control people. So they might as
Yeah.
well learn as much about it as they can, work with these companies, and try to create some kind of level of control still. And I think that that's what we're going to see in China. I think we're going to see that in other Asian countries as well. I've said, and the thing about, the Asian population in that area is so many of those people are so poor. So many are so poor, and they see crypto and they're unbanked. That goes to what crypto is about, right?
Yeah.
Where you have all these people, you've got these populations that are absolutely out of control, on the upside in these countries, and they don't have banks for these people. So because of that, crypto, I think, goes hand in hand with especially Southeastern Asia. And I think that when you have these companies that are working with the governments, I think it's only a matter of time before those ones basically pass a lot of the other projects, because they have that government backing and the government, basically okay to be running their projects, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and this is what happened with Neo as well. I mean, I didn't even know about crypto back in April, May 2017, when Neo was still Ant shares before they rebranded, and it was like 14, 15 cents a token. And when they were announcing that they're going to have this partnership with the government, I believe it was, before they rebranded, the price just went skyrocket. I know that everything else grew, but Neo specifically, if you
Yeah.
look, I mean, from 15 cents in April 2017 to 150, $160 in December 20, that's absolutely huge. It's a humongous growth.
Yeah. Well, and now I've actually heard in the bear market they're going to be rebranding back to Ant shares.
No,
that's
that's true.
that's
Actually, I heard that joke before. You're
yeah.
the second person to mention it. No,
It's a good
but
little internet meme. Yeah.
but to be honest, I don't really see them going below $6. Let's say the worst. I mean, we've seen what, 680? That was the last dip that we've
Yeah.
seen. This was a few days ago.
I
But
just think ontology is going to pass it. That's my opinion on it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. And also about ontology, they've got this node staking authorization feature. I actually did a demo on that. So just to bring back the fact that demos get more views on my channel, I did a
Yeah.
demo on that. And basically what you can do is you can stake your ontology coins on the node, and you get paid by the node. So the node receives transaction fees, and then they share it with the people that stake on that node. So that's actually pretty cool, because you get a large
Yeah.
share of the fees every month, but you do need to stake for one entire round, and one round can be anything from like a day if they've got a lot of transactions on their blockchain up to like almost a month. So yes, it all depends, but the fact that they did that is really good, because that's attracting people to stake and to not sell, and even in this bear market, it's like what else is there to do? Just stake and just wait it out and generate ontology gas. This is just an example, but imagine you have other projects that may do something similar, and these sort of projects which look promising, it's good. Why not do it? That's the way I see it.
Yeah. I know. I agree with you for sure. I think, there's just a lot going on in the space in general. And each one of these projects definitely has their own little path that they're going on. And I can definitely say that I like where ontology is going. Neo, personally, I'm not too hot on where it's going, just because of, the memorandum of understanding between ontology and Neo and things like that. But it's an interesting time to be alive and know what crypto is.
No, I agree. I agree. Sorry, I would just like to talk about one other topic before we end the stream. So, blockchain gaming. What do you think about blockchain gaming? Because I'm seeing Neo, adopting that. I'm seeing Ontology wanting to adopt that. Other projects as well. I mean, what do you think about blockchain gaming? Will it really take off?
Well, you really have two. You have two types of blockchain gaming arenas. You have the one which are gaming trinkets and tokens and collectibles placed on the blockchain. which I think that is going to be absolutely huge, where you're able to purchase, like with Wax Token, or I think it's Wax Coin, whichever one it is. You can purchase collectibles with Wax tokens already for a discount, on websites. So I think that's going to be something that's really big. The other thing where we have games, like decentralized games taking off, I think that most people don't understand what a decentralized app is. Okay. Most people have this idea that decentralized apps are going to be like apps that you put on your phone, but they're decentralized. Well, we already have those. They're called apps. A decentralized app is basically a website. So if you want to play a decentralized app game on your phone, you would basically have to go to the website. Now, a lot of people probably know you can make a shortcut from a website so you can click on it like it's an app to open
Yeah.
it up, but it's not running in the app. It's running on a website. So I think because of that, if you compare what regular games on iOS or Android are offering compared to the fact that you would actually have to physically go to a website to pull up a game, I think that's going to be the big barrier to entry because people would rather just download an app and play it that way. Especially because, like you don't have to have an internet connection. You
Yeah.
don't have to have an internet connection to play apps. A lot
That's
of them. Some of them do require it, online games and stuff, but
online games. Yeah, like for
yeah,
example, multiplayer online
right.
role-playing games, MMORPGs. I don't know if you were big into those, but I was pretty big into those. And I did enjoy playing them and growing my character from level 1 to level
Yeah.
100 and doing quests and doing dungeons and this kind of thing in teams. I think if they could get some kind of game like that on the blockchain, that would be really, really big.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think it's much more geared towards desktop gaming than it is toward phone gaming, which is a big problem
Yeah.
because everybody wants to play the games on their phone.
True,
So,
true. Especially the commuters. When
right.
I used to commute, like now I commute with my car to work. I live in Spain, but when I lived in the UK, I used to commute with the train, and I used to see people play like Candy Crush and Angry Birds and all these sort of games on their phones and other games, and many, many people playing games. Listening to music and playing games, pretty much. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, a lot of people do that. One other thing I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you're familiar with Narrative. It's a project on the Neo blockchain. They've got over 5,000 users. And basically, what you can do with them is you can buy a niche, right, for 1 year. Well, not buy it, it's more like rent a niche for one entire year for $75 worth of their token. And literally, for example, let's say you enjoy, I don't know, sports or I don't know, some crypto, and you want to buy this niche for 1 year. So basically, what you do is you own this niche, and then anyone who creates like kind of subreddits, like you have on Reddit
Yeah.
the main Reddit page, and then you have the subreddits. Anyone who creates these sub pages on your niche basically generate income for you in narrative
Oh, wow.
tokens. So what do you think about this? I think this idea of this project is actually quite good. It's quite interesting. What is your opinion on that?
No, I think that's really great. I think that once again, we're just running into the problem of oversaturation.
Yeah,
While there may not be a lot of projects that are doing that exact same thing, there's definitely projects out there that are doing similar things to that. And I think that eventually, that's why when you think of social media, what do you think of? You think of Facebook, you think of Twitter, you think of Instagram, you think of Snapchat. That's
yeah,
pretty much it, right? So we've got, and they all do four very different things. And so when you've got hundreds of companies now trying to kind of get into that space and do some kind of, whether it's decentralized social media or decentralized content creation, or whether it's rewarding content creators, there's just so much in this niche right now that it's going to take a lot for the four or five to rise to the surface that people are going to use every day.
right.
So it sounds like a great idea. Love it. I love the idea of having a niche and making money off of it. But will they have the user base to actually make that come to
Yeah, yeah. Will
fruition?
they
That's the
compete?
question.
Will they compete with Reddit, for example? This is the big question.
Right.
Or even get close enough, even if they won't compete.
Yeah. They don't have to be on Reddit's level to be successful.
No,
But
no.
the question is how much of the percentage of the Reddit users can they draw?
Exactly, exactly. No, yeah, that's the big question. It all depends what they have to bring to the table. If they can motivate people they can attract people to their project via certain ways, then I'm sure they will. But yeah, it will be quite tricky.
Right.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about for today. I'd like to thank you very, very much for coming to my podcast and touching a lot of topics, a lot of interesting topics. You gave a lot of insight on different sort of topics, and yeah, absolutely amazing. I do hope to see you in a live stream in the future. hopefully on your channel and maybe with other people as well. So yeah, let's keep in touch and do more of these
Yeah,
for the
absolutely.
community.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah.
so much for having me on. It's been a fun chat.
Thank you very much, BitBoy. Have a lovely day. Goodbye. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. Bye.